Up with KREM begins now.
Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us here on Up with KREM. We are tracking developments in several big stories this morning. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Nicole Hernandez. Before we get to some of those big stories, we want to get started with weather because we do have weather impact alerts for today and tomorrow on our radar right now. We are going to be hot today. And when I say hot, I mean like 15 degrees above average hot because of a ridge of high pressure that is right on top of us right now and keeping us nice and warm. Because of these very hot temperatures, we are under a weather impact alert for today. That's going to last through tomorrow, despite the fact that today is actually the hottest of the days. So just be careful out there. National Weather Service says check on your friends, your family, especially people who don't have air conditioning in their homes. Because of that, they also have heat advisories in effect until 9 o'clock tonight.
Here's a live look at the traffic impact from I-90 and US 2 this morning towards Airway Heights. You could see traffic flows are moving great. That sun already shining, already in the mid-60s here at 6 o'clock. It is going to be a toasty day. Definitely going to want to bring your sunglasses as you head out the door and get out on the roads. We'll keep a close eye on the traffic conditions all morning long. On Up with KREM, we bring you weather and traffic together every 30 minutes. In a matter of hours this morning, the community is invited to join a procession for the two fallen firefighters who were ambushed in Sunday's shooting in North Idaho. KREM 2's Brandon T. Jones live in Coeur d'Alene for us with more on who these firefighters were and how you can be a part of this morning's procession. Brandon?
Yeah, good morning, Tim. Well, that procession will be ending right here at this funeral in Coeur d'Alene, but it has been an emotional 2 days here in Coeur d'Alene. And over the last 24 hours, learning the names of those two firefighters that were out killed while simply trying to protect their community. We, of course, have also learned that those plans to return home will be in the manner of a procession that'll begin at 10 a.m. over in Spokane. So we'll have coverage on that throughout this morning. But a lot of support has just been flowing in for this North Idaho community from all over the country as we learn more about these two individuals. Again, Battalion Chief Frank Harwood with Kootenai County Fire and Rescue and Battalion Chief John Morrison with Coeur d'Alene Fire. Both had decades of experience here in North Idaho. We also learned 3rd firefighter, Coeur d'Alene fire engineer David Tisdale, remains in critical condition at Kootenai Health.
Yesterday was one of the most absolute darkest days that either one of these organizations has ever faced.
Still are in shock and are struggling to understand why someone would target unarmed, selfless public servants.
In a press conference, the Kootenai County Sheriff says the suspect, who has been identified as 20-year-old Wes Roelly, targeted the firefighters. Roelly was found dead with a shotgun near him. The sheriff's office believes he killed himself. At this time, his motive unclear. Investigators say Roelly communicated with firefighters at the scene before the shooting, but at this point, they are still working to collect more evidence, including Roelly's truck. As for the procession, that starts at the Spokane Medical Examiner's office at 10 this morning. On your screen right now is a map of the route for the fallen firefighters. It'll travel east on I-90 until the Sherman exit in Coeur d'Alene, ending here again at the English Funeral Chapel in Coeur d'Alene. Community members are encouraged to come out and pay their respects, whether it be from a vantage point along I-90 or here in Coeur d'Alene. But for now, reporting live in Kootenai County, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
We certainly all want to pay our respects, Brandon. Thank you. We'll have live coverage of this morning's procession starting at 10 a.m. on KREM 2+. We'll be following the route from Spokane to Coeur d'Alene. To watch KREM 2+, just download it on your TV and watch for free.
A Sandpoint man says the shooter, 20-year-old Wes Roelly, was his roommate. They lived together for about 6 months until this past January.
My whole family met him, and they've talked to him, and it's scary because I don't know, he could have flipped at any time. I mean, that is an absolutely disgusting thing to do. You know, my heart goes out to those firefighters' families because I respect law enforcement and firefighters especially. That it hurts my heart, but it also scares the crap out of me because he lived in my home under my roof.
He does not remember any conversation that may have hinted at a motive, but at the end of his stay, he says he noticed a change in Roelly's demeanor.
The fire that first brought the firefighters to the area is holding steady at 26 acres. It's called the Nettleton Gulch Fire. There are more than 80 firefighters working on the fire right now, and additional help will arrive today.
More than half of fire and EMS responders report they have experienced an act of verbal or physical violence while working. It's a workplace hazard that impacts firefighters every day. The issue of violence to firefighters isn't new. It's something the Center for Firefighter Injury Research and Safety Trends, or FIRST, has been studying for over a decade. There are more than 1 million U.S. firefighters, and 67% of those are volunteers. FIRST says time for training for violent events is not prioritized. Firefighters and EMS responders are spread thin and don't have time to prepare themselves or their families for a violent attack.
We're very familiar with that. These types of events where there's an arson intentionally and set to lure firefighters to the scene, that doesn't happen often. And that's why, when things don't happen often, they become very hard to predict. But that's still our job at the FIRST Center, is thinking about, on every run, the potential that it could turn violent, whether it's a fire run or an EMS run.
Taylor says they are now encouraging firefighters to take a moment for rest and recovery and to prioritize their mental health. They use something called a Saver Systems level checklist. It gives training courses for firefighters to learn how to prioritize rest and recovery and protect themselves while working.
We are tracking major developments this morning in the Moscow murders case. We have learned that Brian Kohberger plans to take a plea deal that would take the death penalty off the table.
KREM 2's Christian Garza joins us with reaction to this decision, including from the family of one of the 4 victims who is not happy with this development. Christian?
We are expecting that Brian Cobberger will change his plea in court tomorrow. Families of the 4 University of Idaho students tell us they were sent an email with a letter attached saying he's agreed to plead guilty on all 4 counts of first-degree murder. Cobberger is charged with murdering Kaylee Gonsalves, Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, and Madison Mogan in their off-campus home 2.5 years ago. The plea deal comes just 2 months before the trial was originally scheduled to start. In exchange for pleading guilty, Cobberger will receive 4 consecutive life sentences. Prosecutors had been seeking the death penalty now if he were found guilty. This plea also has Cobberger waiving his right to appeal. We had a chance to speak with former Idaho Attorney General David Leroy about what this means for Kohberger's future.
Now that he is going to plead guilty, re-entering society is forever foreclosed, given the dreadful nature of these murders and the risk that he would propose to society were he to re-enter. This is a good result in a hard case, and the only possible outcome other than proceeding forward on a death penalty matter.
While Leroy says it's likely Judge Hippler will sign off on the plea deal tomorrow, former King County Supreme Court Judge Timothy Bradshaw believes there's still another option on the table.
If the judge does not conclude those things, that it is not voluntary, that it's a product of some sort of coercion, then yeah, the judge can reject it. The judge has an affirmative duty to make that determination.
After the decision to take the plea deal was made, the family of one of the 4 victims, Kaylee Gonsalves, sent a strong statement about the, quote, hurried effort to close the case, end quote, saying the Latah County Prosecutor's Office's treatment of our family during this process is something I wouldn't wish on anybody. We weren't even called about the plea. We received an email with a letter attached. That's how Latah County's Prosecutor's Office treats murder victims' families. Our family is frustrated right now, and that will subside, and we will come together as always and deal with the reality that we face moving forward. Details for this new development in this case is still limited, but we are keeping an eye on what you at home can expect from tomorrow's court hearing. Coming up in the next half hour, we hear from Madison Mogan's father, Benjamin, directly about if he thinks justice is being served for his daughter. In studio, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Our Amanda Roelly will be in Boise tomorrow to report on the Cobberger plea hearing. We also plan to bring you that hearing live on KREM 2+.
Spokane City Council voted not to pass the Safe and Welcome in Spokane ordinance last night. It would have designated several locations as non-public in an effort to prevent immigration officers from entering them without a warrant. The council voted 4-3 on the ordinance. However, emergency ordinances require 5 votes of approval to pass. The city says the initiative aimed to directly address safety concerns raised by residents and employees about security, accessibility, and the protection of city assets. Councilmember Lily Navarrete said in a statement, "In Spokane, we all belong is not only the city's official motto, but also a promise we make to our community. It's time we start taking actionable steps toward fulfilling that promise." City Council President Betsy Wilkerson said on Monday that she would not support the ordinance because of a lack of legal clarity. At the same legislative session, the City Council approved 2 ordinances addressing homelessness. One initiative ensures everyone has access to public property, but prohibits unauthorized camping, making it a misdemeanor offense and illegal citywide. The other initiative makes aggressive solicitation illegal, another misdemeanor offense. The council defines aggressive solicitation as seeking something of value while knowingly engaging in behaviors that could be intimidating. So this includes touching, following, persisting after being refused, or using violent or threatening language or gestures.